Hey folks, I want to come on here and shoot another quick solo podcast. This is going to be another 15 minutes. I have decided to do two this week. I think a number of weeks ago when I was in London, maybe 3 weeks ago now, it was my two. Let me just double check that. Hopefully no ahs or ums this time. But yes, the start of October, it was my mother's birthday. She's quite a big fan of the show. Hopefully she doesn't mind me mentioning her, and I decided to not upload that week. We're back, we're resuming, and this one is a good one, a double header for the 7 days, if that makes any sense. I think it does. This one is about the topic of mental health. Before we get into it, and I know there's a lot to cover, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatric nurse, I'm not a therapist. However, I do have a unique understanding. Over the last 4 years, I've taken a break for my health, and I want to say at least 80% of it, or 20% or 80% of it, was to do with the concept of mental health. A number of things I learned, and I want to share one thing very quickly over these 15 minutes that helped me tremendously get back on my feet. I never thought I'd have a big issue with my mental health. However, sometimes life just happens and it puts you through a bit of a blender. And nothing you can do about it. Well, I thought there's nothing I can do about it until there is something you can do about it. So I will talk about it on the podcast. That said, there is still opportunity to sponsor. This is going to be the 15th episode. And hopefully we get to 20, which I'm sure we will. I'd love a business to come on, a company to join. I think I can put a logo on the screen, a watermark, a hat, a t-shirt, a product that I use if you'd like me to mention at the start of the show. The end of the show, something that I align with, trust, value. I think the majority of my listeners are based in Ireland, about 70% male, 30% female, if we're talking. And then there's non-specific and a lot of other things, but I don't want to get into that debate right now. However, a lot of my listeners are from Ireland, so if you're open to that audience, don't get me wrong, there is the UK, there is America, Australia, UAE, and some really interesting geographical locations have popped up over the last while. Let me just touch upon it before I tap into some mental health. This is, let me just, one sec, audience. Oh, there's more female listeners. I've got 68.2% female. Male, 68.2% male, and 25.8% female, and then non-specific 6.1%, non-binary 0%. So I don't want to discriminate. And this is over the last month or so, mainly the age 28 to 34, and that's about 60%. That's about, of the listeners. But Ireland, United Kingdom, United States, United Arab Emirates, Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Spain, the Netherlands, Portugal, Luxembourg, Denmark, France, China, Greece, Bulgaria. I'm not here to flex. However, the majority of my listeners are in Ireland and the United Kingdom, mainly in Ireland. So if you're open to that market, if it's something that you operate here or you're looking to get into this demographic, if I'm correct in saying that, demographic, excuse me, then feel free to reach out. I left my email. I will maybe leave it at the description. However, it is on podcast 12. It's Ryan, or YANW Conlan, CONLAN at gmail.com. And I suppose we'll get into the episode. This is about mental health. I already made a disclaimer saying I'm not a number of things. However, I am something, and that is a human being. And human beings are not robots. And what I know from my experience is I'm not a human doing. I can only do so much, and sometimes I just need to rest and be, but that is not really what I want to talk about today. It is about the concept of mental health, and there is something that I did, one thing that I did over the last 4 years that really improved my situation, and it's called the WRAP program, which is a Wellness Recovery Action Plan. I'm just reading here from the notes. I do have a certification saying I completed it, and I will go into a little bit more detail. So the RAP program is a wellness recovery action plan, a personalized evidence-based plan for self-management for mental health and well-being. It is a structured process for identifying and monitoring distressing signs and symptoms and developing a plan of action for daily wellness, managing triggers and dealing with crisis. The core concepts are hope, education, personal responsibility, self-advocacy and support. What RAP program involves is personalized wellness tools. Participants develop a wellness toolbox of strategies to help them feel better and stay well, which can include things like listening to music, exercising, journaling, spending time in nature. I won't get into too much. Daily maintenance plan, trigger management, early warning signs, crisis planning. The key concepts, which we touched upon: hope, education, personal responsibility, self-advocacy, and support. How, but most importantly, how the RAP helps increasing self-awareness and helps you take control of your mental health, provides structure and a way to monitor, and there's a few different other things. So the RAP program is the one thing that I wanted to mention. I did it in Dublin, Ireland. There is a place called the Vergemount Hospital Centre. I got referred from the HSE, the Churchtown Mental Health Team, which is private and confidential information, so I thought I'd share a bit on here. And it was really tricky, though, that the period of the 4 years of my life, thankfully coming out of it now and starting this podcast, were just super, super, super difficult. That's the only way I can put it. It's full of uncertainty and just not knowing what is going on. And mental health is such, for me, it was such a, I wouldn't say but I initially thought it could be brain health. And I saw an article in the Financial Times the other day, or it was not the other day, it was about, how many months ago? It was over the summer. Brain health is good for the economy. And I was wondering, is it brain health or mental health? Is there something structurally wrong with my brain? Is it the stress? But yes, it says brain health is good for the economy, the brain economy. A healthy brain, strong cognitive, emotional, and social skills drives productivity, innovation, adaptation to economic shifts. Consequently, poor brain health has significant, and I'm using AI overview here on Google. Poor brain health has a significant economic cost due to lost productivity and healthcare expenses. Investments in brain capital can boost global GDP, stimulate economic growth, and increase societal resilience and well-being. How brain health benefits the economy. And this isn't the article in the Financial Times, that was just a headline. But another headline here, so my brain's jumping from side to side. Just super excited to be talking on this topic, because it's something that I haven't really mentioned besides a post that I may briefly touch upon that I made over the last, one or two posts that I made over the last 4 years, which are really challenging to make. A lot of weight lifted off my shoulders after I decided to get out there into the social realm, or the more Instagram realm, but Instagram. Brain economy, novel approach to Europe's growth. That's from the European Policy Centre in 20th of November 2024. I'll get back to the one thing at the moment. This is just an interesting point. How brain health benefits the economy, drives productivity and innovation, enables economic transitions, enhances economic dynamism, increases societal resilience, which we touch upon. How to build a brain-positive economy, focus on brain capital, the brain economy prioritizes and invests in both brain health and skills are as critical economic assets. Increase investment policies and investments that improve brain health and performance are seen as a way to increase productivity and boost the economy. Integrate brain science into policy. By integrating neuroscience and other disciplines, policymakers can create more effective strategies to address challenges and build a more resilient economy. So throughout this whole journey of mental health, I wasn't torn, but I was back and forth between, is it my brain health or is it my mental health? And turns out there is some nuance, there's some difference. So I'll talk about that briefly as well. But again, the one thing which is the RAP program, which was tremendous for me. I think you can do the course, you can be a facilitator, you can coach people through it. And that's what I want to mention by Dr. Mary Copeland, PhD. Her story is very interesting, which I won't go into detail here. Maybe one day I will interview, I think. Yeah, grab a snack soon. But, so let's go into this real quick. Brain health versus mental health. Coming from a background of fitness, I was in the gyms for 17, 18 years, worked in the fitness industry in both Dublin and London, in the best gym in the world, Men's Health. Voted in 2015-16, I think I was the youngest coach there, so I had a real interest in health and fitness. However, I didn't really understand the concept of brain health and neuroscience, which, like any normal being, would probably, well, maybe not, but I just never considered neuroscience to be. I knew about concussions, I knew about mental health. However, this concept of mental health versus brain health is something that's top of mind for me. That's why I thought I'd share it on the podcast. I didn't want to be too extreme. I want to be quite moderate here. I don't want to talk about things that I don't know, and I don't want to sound like this is the answer to everyone's problem. Because maybe, there's different ways, but this is just my my thoughts. So, brain health and mental health are distinct but interconnected concepts. Brain health refers to the physical and functional state of the brain, including cognitive abilities like thinking, memory, while mental health is the emotional, psychological, and social and social well-being that affects how you think, feel, and act. A healthy brain is necessary for good mental health, and poor mental health can negatively impact brain function. So it's fascinating. There is some nuance. The connection. Mental health is a component of brain health. Mental health is an integral part of the broader concept of brain health. Symbiotic relationship. A healthy mind fosters a healthy brain and vice versa. Again, I'm reading this on an AI overview on Google. I used to work there, so that's why I trust the platform. However, it does tell me to double check at times. It says at the bottom, this is for informational purposes only. For medical advice or diagnosis, consult a professional. AI response may include mistakes. So I just want to preface that. And I am not, hopefully I'll get a neuroscientist maybe on the show over the next while to talk in depth about brain health versus mental health. Yeah, it was strange getting different diagnoses and going through the process of but thankfully I'm on the other side. I feel like I'm back to my old self. I feel great. So, but my word, it was quite challenging. Anyone going through it, I have a lot of empathy and patience. I can't take all the messages in the world at the moment, so I will say that I'm creating a bit of a boundary because I'm trying to put a bit of space between what has happened and now. Thankfully, I feel back to my old self. I have lots of energy again. Nevertheless, I am still. Not that I'm still, I am back to my old self. I feel like I have lots of energy again and super excited about life. And if there's one thing you can take away from this show, I didn't mean to go into too much detail about brain health versus mental health, but it is interesting. I picked up a book I was down the west of Ireland over the summer for some holidays with family, and there was a book from a Trinity School, Trinity College Dublin professor, neuroscience, Trinity College professor book. Let me find it to see if I can find it one sec. This is semi-long form, 15 minutes audio, maybe in the commute or... I can't seem to find it, but was it Prof? I don't want to say the person's name. Let me just see. I have 2 more minutes for 15 minutes. Let me see if I can find that person. Excuse me if you're listening and there's a bit of a break. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it is a good thing. Neuroscience, Trinity College professor book, psychology. Anyway, I can't seem to locate it at the moment. However, this whole concept of brain health and mental health really fascinates me. But let's just leave it at mental health for the moment. And a quick definition, which maybe we'll use a different tool. They have it in the RAP program, I think. Mental health definition. Let's see what comes up. Mental health refers to a person's emotional, psychological, I think we already touched upon this, but a common definition from the World Health Organization, mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes their own abilities, can cope with normal stressors of life, can work productively, and is able to contribute to their community. In short, good mental health isn't just the absence of mental illness. It's about having a balanced and resilient mind that allows someone to function well in daily life and relationships. Lovely stuff. I think that definition really sums up what mental health is. And for those that are unsure about it, for those that maybe think it's just once you go for a run and just get on with life. Sometimes it can be like that. I used to be, when I just go to the gym. However, things can get challenging, and the RAP program is a great way to, I'm not sure how you can get access to it if you're not in the HSE. However, I may try to leave a link below in the description. And I'll wrap it up there, or excuse me, that's the RAP program, but I will leave it there. I think that lovely definition sums up what mental health is. Just one more time. Mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes their own abilities, can cope with the normal stressors of life, can work productively, and is able to contribute to their community. In short, good mental health isn't just the absence of mental illness. It's about having a balanced and resilient mind that allows someone to function well in daily life and relationships. And that's from ChatGPT definition. And I think I'll leave it there. There's so much I can delve into, but I think I probably need to interview someone about it and go back and forth, because I'm not working in that industry, that field. Nonetheless, from personal experience, I can speak a lot. I can speak about it in depth, and maybe another time. Thanks, folks. Appreciate you listening, and have a wonderful rest of